Hello, in today's video, we'll be discussing the mole concept used in chemistry. In chemistry, a mole isn't a furry animal, but a way to count atoms. Sounds strange, doesn't it? So let's break it down. A mole is a unit used to count really small things, like atoms and molecules. One mole is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd atoms or molecules. This is called Avogadro's number. Atoms are tiny. Like a single grain of salt has more atoms than all the stars in the Milky Way galaxy. So instead of counting each atom, chemists will count moles instead. Think of a mole like this. If you had 1 mole of marshmallows, you could cover the entire Earth with a 50-mile thick layer. But a mole of water is equal to 18 grams. So don't confuse moles with mass. A mole is a count, like a dozen eggs. Different substances have different masses per mole. So a mole of feathers versus a mole of lead have the same number of particles, but they have different weights. We can use the mole bridge to cross from mass to particles or molecules. But first of all, we have to convert mass into moles, and then convert the moles into particles or molecules. To get from mass to moles, use the molar mass. On the periodic table, add up all the masses of the elements of the substance, and then use that to determine moles. And to go from moles to particles or molecules, you'll have to use Avogadro's number. If you have gases at standard temperature and pressure, or STP, that means 1 atmosphere, or 101.325 kilopascals. That's the pressure. And the temperature will be 0 degrees Celsius, or 273.15 Kelvin. So if I have a gas, I can convert its mass to moles, and then its moles to volume, which is in liters. I'll have to use the number 22.4 because 1 mole of any gas is equal to 22.4 liters. Okay, let's try some simple examples. How many moles are in 32 grams of aluminum? So we're going to convert grams into moles. So I have 32 grams of aluminum. I'll multiply that times. I want moles and I want to get rid of grams. So I'll put 1 mole on top. 1 mole of aluminum is 26.98 grams. Okay, aluminum. So grams, aluminum cancels. So it'll give 1.19 moles of aluminum. How many grams of silver are in 2.2 moles of silver? Okay, so we're starting with 2.2 moles. I have moles on top, so moles must go on the bottom. So 1 mole of silver is equal to, in grams, looking on the periodic table, I get 107.87 grams of silver. Moles of silver cancels. So I'll say 2.2 times 107.87. I get 237.31 grams of silver. In this next example, we're converting grams of carbon monoxide into molecules. So we'll start with 52 grams of carbon monoxide times, I have grams on top, should have grams on bottom, so 1 mole of carbon monoxide goes on top, and grams of carbon monoxide goes on bottom. On the periodic table, carbon has a mass of 12, and oxygen has a mass of 16. If I add those together, that would give me 28.01, or 28. We'll keep it simple here. Grams of CO cancels. We have 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd atoms or molecules per 1 mole. So when I do the math, I would get something like 1.12 times 10 to the 24th atoms or molecules. One thing you probably would like to do is, rather than have to type this number over and over and over again, I suggest storing it in your calculator. So on a calculator like a Texas Instrument, I would type in the number 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, then press the STO key to store it, then press alpha, followed by the letter A, and then press enter. And what this does is stores this number in your calculator. So if I was doing this calculation, I could say 52 times A divided by 28 equals, and it saves me time, and I'm not running into the problem of maybe entering this wrong. I hope that helps. Okay, so what's the mass of 1.20 times 10 to the 25th atoms of sulfur? So if I have 1.20 times 10 to the 25th atoms, multiply it times 1 mole of sulfur divided by Avogadro's number. So that gives me atoms of sulfur, cancels atoms of sulfur. And then 32.07 grams of sulfur per 1 mole of sulfur. So this gives you 639.27 grams of sulfur. Okay, now let's work with a gas at STP. If I have 4.5 liters of argon, and I want to convert that into moles, so I have 1 mole of argon over 22.4 liters of argon. That'll give me 0.201 moles of argon. So what's the mass of oxygen molecules found in 10 liters of gas at STP? So 10 liters of O2. So 1 mole of O2 is 22.4 liters. And I have 32 grams of O2 per 1 mole of O2. That gives me 14.29 grams of O2. And our last problem, what is the volume occupied by 2.25 times 10 to the 23rd molecules of hydrogen? So we'll start with the 2.25 times 10 to the 23rd molecules of hydrogen. Let's convert that into moles. By dividing by Avogadro's number. Let's multiply it times 22.4 liters of hydrogen per 1 mole of hydrogen. All right, so this will give me a volume of 8.37 liters. So now you know the mole isn't just a weird number, it's your secret weapon in chemistry. Whether you're converting grams, counting molecules, or just trying to pass that next test, the mole's got your back. If this video helped you, give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and drop a comment with your own mole question. Thank you for watching. Until next time, goodbye.